Hey everyone, I'm Ash, not a Pokemon trainer, and while I don't have Pikachu by my side, I do have a burp suit, a browser, and a payload that loves to travel. So today, I'll be taking you to ghost hunting, not in haunted places, but in admin panels, feedback forms, and browser headers. So yes, I'm talking about Blind XSS, a bug that doesn't show up right away, a bug doesn't give you a pop-up when you test it, while it waits until a right person, someone like an admin, opens it at the wrong time, and then the real magic happens. There's a bonus coming up at the end of this session. So there will be a quiz. I'll give you a link. And once you complete that quiz, you will be redirected to a link where I have given my customized Blind XSS payload, what I have used till date to earn these major bounties. And you have seen the title as 50,000 USD. So I have earned that from this payload, so stay tuned till the end if you don't want to miss opportunity. Let's get started. Okay, so I'll be talking about the advanced blind XSS methodologies. I'll be talking like what kind of advanced techniques you can use while hunting this kind of bugs, and then how you can bypass this kind of techniques, what to do and what to not. And then if you are a beginner, if you're advanced level, how you can approach these kind of bugs. So it's for everyone that approaches. Then once you get this kind of bug, so how you can boost the reward, or how you can make it to goal. So those kind of things are there. And definitely there are my case studies from a particular giant. It will be coming up where I have bypassed it 4 to 5 times, and then I was featured in news for this bug. So we'll be talking about that higher case studies. Okay, so what is blind XSS? It's simple, everybody know. The name itself says as blind. Everybody know what is XSS. So talking about blind, it's a blind spot. So whenever, as an attacker, you send a blind XSS payload, maybe it's from feedback form, maybe it can be from comments or anything, unless and until it went to the backend of the database and it's viewed by the admin panel or admin section, and then the payload get executed, and the use of that payload, for example, if that payload is used to capture screenshots, take logs, take cookies, user agent, everything, and that will be given it to by your XSS hunter. So now if you are working on blind XSS, you know that XSS hunter is deprecated, but there are a lot of GitHub links and everything where you can go and create your own blind XSS listener. That I have created, and that makes you very useful, because when you hunt for bugs like that, most of the companies, they'll say, okay, we don't want to expose our internal data to third parties, they will not accept your bugs. So it's a personal experience, so you create your own blind XSS, that will be very helpful. Okay. So understanding recon and exploitation techniques. So what is scope selection? So whenever you're trying to find blind XSS in any website or anywhere, the first step is to understand the scope. So you know blind XSS, but you have to find custom feedback forms, CRMs, dashboards, anywhere where these payloads will be delivered to admin section or the backend. So you have to understand the scope. Say example, you're talking about Google, Microsoft, Facebook. They are giants. They have multiple support forms, multiple things coming up where you are asked to add, or when you complete some registration or complete some events, they are asking you for the feedback forms and all stuff. So these are the general parts of the scope selection. You have to understand how you can focus on this. Okay, so the discovery, like for example, you're working with an application. Okay, now unless and until you don't crawl the complete website, you won't understand this particular endpoint is related to a feedback form, or there can be a feedback.html endpoint, there can be a support form, contact form. So when you're dealing with any application, you just try to crawl your burp suite with like burp history, or you can crawl manually to understand what kind of endpoints are present where, and when you add these payloads, how it will be delivered to the backend. So that is a complete discovery you have to understand while working with this kind of bugs. Okay, so Reconnaissance. Now let's say you have added your payloads in feedback forms. Okay, now you click on submit button. Now when it is sent to the admin section, or it is getting delivered to the backend, You can intercept the traffic with burp suite, and you can see in the endpoints, okay, there's a log section your payloads are went, or there's a feedback section. So you'll understand where actually your payloads are going. So that's a recon part. You have to understand, like, okay, I send it to payloads in logs, so maybe in the log section, in the admin section, there will be a log endpoint where you will see all the payloads coming up, user agents, and all things. So accordingly, you have to focus on recon. Do not miss anything while hunting blind XSS payloads, because this is blind. You don't know anything where it can be and how it can be executed. So parameter selection. Say example, I have a form, contact form. I add all my fields with my blind XSS payloads. I click on submit button. Now usually what we do, we send it to the backend, right? But what I usually do, I capture the request in burp suite. I see, okay, what are the parameters which are going with request. So it doesn't mean that your actual user inputs are all only saved in the backend. There are a lot of things like, say example, time or other kind of features, things which is getting saved in the backend, right? So you have to focus that way. How you can send these payloads into those parameters, you don't miss those parameters right away. Because just sending your payloads and waiting for a couple of days or a couple of months and your blind XSS is not getting executed, it doesn't make any sense. So parameter selection is very important, and burp suite is a real game. Okay, then there's a manual approach. Now, say example, in a day, I send multiple payloads to multiple companies. How I'll understand, okay, my payload got triggered in this particular organization or this particular endpoint. So what I usually do, I create a custom name, okay? Say example, if I'm working with Microsoft, so I create, okay, Microsoft Dynamics, and I end with that particular payloads. So I'll understand, okay, I have executed this here. Or what I do, I create a URL, a custom URL from the URL section where I'm working, and then I add this to my blind XSS payloads. So whenever my payloads get executed or get triggered, at the end of the day, when there is a DOM HTML coming up, so you will see all the details where it was executed, because it's a DOM, so you know everything about that. So it gives you a particular understanding, okay, my payload would get executed here. So this can be very useful for you to understand. Then talking about automated approach. Now we have ChatGPT, we can create our own scripts, and we can start running. So what you do, you create your own scripts, you crawl the complete website from it, and the user agents, referrer, you add your customized blind XSS payload. While you are working or while you are traveling, what you can do, you can start executing this script, and in the backend, this will start sending your blind XSS payload to multiple URLs, endpoints. So at a particular section, what will happen? If the backend is vulnerable, these payloads will be executed, and you will get a nice trigger. You can add your Discord, Slack, anything for a webhook, and that will be very useful for an automated approach. Then delivery and exploitation. Like I said, when you are sending something from a parameter, so delivery is very important. Now, you should understand, because in the backend, you don't know what will be there, what kind of sanitization will be there, what URLs or where it is getting saved, you don't know anything, right? So while sending your payloads from parameters and everything, so I'll give an example. If you're working for cross-site scripting, you add your payloads in comment section, right? And you doesn't get a pop-up. Why? Because there is sanitization. Maybe from client side, what do? You capture request in burp suite. You change your, say example, this is converted to LTGT. Okay, your normal script tags are changed to LTGT. But in burp suite, you change that LTGT, and again you add a same payload what you have used with your script tags, and there are high chances that your payloads got executed. As a personal experience, I have seen this kind of stored exercise happening. So what you can do, you can actually use the same way. Now, say example, you added your all customized blind XSS payloads into contact form, and you click on send. But what if from the client side, when it is going to server side, the payloads are getting sanitized, or it is converting to LTGT. So rather capture the request, add your all blind XSS payload as it is what you have, and send it. So there are high chances the exact payloads what you have used will be saved onto the backend, and it will be executed. So that's the main part. Now, when the payloads are executed, the exploitation techniques come in. So make sure whatever payloads you have used, So that are mainly like if you go to open source, some have features like capturing screenshots, user agent, cookies. So working with your blind access payload, make sure that it have all the features, like it can capture everything from the backend. So that will be helpful. Like I said, you can customize your blind XSS listener that's available online. Okay. So talking about smart bypass tactics, right? So usually if you go to XSS Hunter or any payloads, what do you see? Okay, double slash, single quote, and IMG source. What if you create a polyglot payloads? Okay, when I talk about polyglot payloads, so in a particular section, these kind of payloads will be executed in any HTML context. Like you can see that title, text area. So whenever you're dealing with in the backend, you don't know what kind of input boxes are there. So it can bypass those techniques and make your payloads execute, because in the normal XSS we have seen these kind of things. In blind XSS payload, we don't get a pop-up, but what if it gets triggered in the backend? So always use polyglots payloads, always try, because it always works for my side, and if you try, maybe it can work for you also. Oh my bad. Okay, then talking about content accepting. So now what we have seen, majorly in XSS, when we add single quote, double slash, or lesser than bracket, so this kind of things bypasses or escape the particular input. What is like example, it's an input tag or P tag. You add your XSS payloads, it's into P tag. What if you add single quote or you close P tag first? So it will escape the previous particular code and it will try to execute your own XSS payload. So make sure when you do that, you add multiple content escaping things, because while dealing or while bypassing WAF, we usually have used this kind of techniques. So helping this for blind XSS payloads will be very helpful. Then in the header payloads, what I have seen personally, say when you are working with any websites, okay, you get a 404 page, okay. Now, most of the times, these 404 pages are saved in the backend or in the log sections where they capture user agent, referrers, and other kind of stuff. So make sure whenever you get 404 pages, you don't leave it. You send your payloads into headers, referrers, and other parts of the header. So maybe at a particular time, because it's blind, you don't know what can work, what cannot. But if you can try and like if you send those to backend, so there are high chances that they can be executed, because 404 and 403, these kind of pages are tracked in backend, what I have seen. And content disposition headers. So what it is, say example, you upload a file called as help.html, right, in an application. But sometimes when it is saved in the backend, this file name is also saved somewhere for view. Try your blind XSS payloads with the file name and send. Doesn't matter it's text, TXT, HTML, or normal file. You just add your blind XSS payloads name with this kind of file name. So there are high chances your blind XSS payload get executed and you can get your blind XSS trigger. Okay, this is a video coming up. So most of the time, what we have seen, we use Go Plus, Webpack URLs, Archive, Web Archive. There are a lot of URLs which you manually cannot track, right? So what you do, if you have this kind of tools, why don't you dump all the URLs from multiple tool sections? So I have written one script. I'll just give you a demo with that. And after dumping all these URLs, why not try blind XSS on that? Okay, this is just a script which is executing, and I have used webappsecure.com subfinder to find all the subdomains. It's a manual automated thing what I'm doing. Then use HTTPX to see what are URLs alive and all. Then start removing SVG, PNG, JPG from that. Like we usually try to find XSS automatically. So that's the thing what it is there. It's trying to, filter every or trying to remove all the URLs which it's not beneficial for us. So now I've used Katana to dump other URLs what it can be seen from internet. So we need to find multiple URLs from multiple tools. You can customize it your way. You can find it. Now you can say scan completed. So I have created multiple text file for my understanding to see what kind of URL was filtered, what kind of not. So you see that after getting multiple URLs, there was around 61 URLs which was filtered, and I am good to test my blind XSS on that. So if you see this URL, you see a feedback section, or I have just grep, contact, feedback, another kind of things, because those are URLs where I can send my blind XSS payload. You can see the feedback page coming up because I have filtered everything. Now you send your blind XSS payloads over here. I just added test. So you see that there will be a backend customer staff who will be viewing my payloads, and there are high chances that it will be getting executed. So archive is very important, where you are dumping complete webback data, and you are trying to grep, contact, feedback, this kind of keywords to understand, okay, these are the URLs can be beneficial for blind XSS execution, and there you send your blind XSS. Okay, this is very important, dorking. So what I have done here, I have done some research from Medium blogs and other times and created this methodology. So if you see here, I'll just play the video. Okay, so these are the add-ons, what I have used in Firefox. Google Autoload, it will auto-load all the URLs coming, or you're searching for a docking. Fox Scroller, you don't have to click on 1, 2, 3. It will auto-scroll all the results you are getting. And then you have a speed. If you want high speed to scroll, so you can adjust that way. And there's a link gopher coming up. So you can extract all the URLs for that particular dorking, what you have searched for. So example, I search for site webappsecurity.com, and I dork that site. I see multiple URLs coming up. I didn't have a complicated docking methods. So you can see it's auto-scrolling. You don't have to wait for that. And now, using link gopher, what I can do, I can extract all URLs from here. So I don't miss from webback URLs or from docking. I don't want to miss anything while hunting blind XSS. So I can copy it can give the domains or subdomains for that. Copy these URLs and just save in your text file. And then again, what we did previously as an automated approach, we tried to escape JPG, PNGs and other stuff. And the URLs, what we need for blind XSS hunting, we just use that. Just grepping keywords as per convenience. Like you can see, feedback, contact. Okay. Now you see there are some URLs which can be beneficial for me. Again, that feedback.html came up. Again, you send your blind XSS payloads over here, and there might be a chances that your customer staff can view this and it can be executed. Okay, so turning blind XSS into gold. So basically, when you send blind XSS payloads, so for a particular organization, a big company, if you send a blind XSS payload for one time, okay, so people overall world globally, if they're hunting on blind XSS, they'll be sending these payloads, right? So what is your chance of your payload getting viewed? So for my understanding, what I do, and I don't spam, but I never send it for one time. I send it for 10,000 times. Okay, so whenever a customer or admin person comes in, if you open the feedback section, okay, 100,000, 10 times what it is. If you open it, okay, boom, blind XSS got executed if it's vulnerable. So the high chances you can do that. And talking about this page to collect payload fire, now I have given example of Equinetics. Say example, I executed this in comment section. Okay, my blind XSS payload got triggered. I got a nice execution at my blind XSS listener. I got cookies, everything. Now, say XYZ, a giant company, I executed this payload, and this got executed on admin section. Now, from here, I want to crawl complete endpoints of those particular URLs. Say example, admin.xyz.com. It's a website where my XSS got executed. Now, if you can see in your blind XSS listener, you have a feature where you can add multiple endpoints. So I have added profile, user, settings, dashboards, and admin, many things. So when your blind XSS payload getting trigger on this admin.xyz.com, it will start crawling these endpoints, okay? And at a particular section, if those are, like you can see, there was an admin endpoint, and it was a create.sql file was there. Just an example I gave. In the backend, if I crawl this kind of endpoints, so there are high chances me reporting bug to company and helping triager to enhance my vulnerability. Like I say, okay, 500 USD for this bug. What I say? Okay, I got an admin section. I got a DOM or HTML where I can see some data, and that can be critical for a particular company. Okay, it's maximizing my rewards. So that's how you do for this kind of section. So whenever you get executed, add your endpoints, try to crawl. Maybe it's a luck if you can get it. Then talking about this kind of vulnerabilities, so blind XSS doesn't stop here, getting execution reporting. You can escalate it to IDOR, ATO, account takeover, remote code execution, like how you can do. Now, XSS is getting executed. You get cookies. You get everything. Now, try to use this cookie to log in. If there is no HTTP flag or secure flag, there are high chances that your session cookies will be captured in your XSS listener. And now these session cookies you can use to log in for a particular company or that particular website. And maybe if you logged in, maybe you can crawl some endpoints which can be sensitive that you can call as account takeover. Plus, if you can't do that, try to change email addresses and see what are the particular cookies or session IDs are responsible to change email address in a particular website. Now, when you try to do that, I have found one bug where I was doing all these things. So at an instance, I found one session ID and one user ID which was responsible to change my email address. Now as a blind XSS, I got trigger and I got cookies, user agent, and everything. I changed it for victim. And I was able to change email address for another person. And then I got account taker. I was logged into that user. So you can escalate this kind of things to this kind of bugs so that you can enhance your methodology, like your rewards and plus stuff. If you're logged into admin panel, there are file upload functionalities and other stuff. You can start uploading PHP files, and you can check for RCEs. You can do CSR from that. So it's a way of methodology. So what we usually say, if you want to be a good bug bounty hunter, do not rely on what it is on internet. You try to create your own methodologies because everybody is doing the same thing. When you start creating your own methodologies, you win the race. Okay, perfect time for my Apple case study. Okay, this is Apple Teacher Learning Center. I have bypassed this particular blind XSS 4 times, and I just loved it. And that's why I just wanted to show you like how you can stick to a particular organization and you can get multiple rewards from them. So there was a get help section, and this can be a technical content as per you can send anything on that. So I added my blind XSS payloads on that. And after a week, it got executed. It was normal execution, what a person can do. So this website crawl, it was from my automated approach, manual approach. So I just came to this domain and I executed it. Okay. Now it's a normal execution, what you can see, and you will get blind XSS execution. Okay. After 6 months, Apple came and said, okay, the bug is fixed. Now you can check it. I added my payload likewise, and it says something went wrong. Okay. Means now I can't send anything. If you see there's a user agent, what I was thinking, what if Apple is taking everything in the backend, my logs, user agent, date and time where I am executing this payload. So let's try in user agent. I send my payload into user agent with that endpoint. And what happened? It just went. It was 200 OK. I was like, OK, nothing happened because it's blind. I waited for months, nothing executed. And suddenly, Apple Web Data and other critical information was in my blind XSS listener. And I was like, OK, my payload got again executed. And I was very happy with that. Again, reported to Apple. Apple confirmed the vulnerability. And then they started fixing it. Now, whenever I add this, there's a nice 403 coming up from Cloudflare. Now, if I add, OK. I'm like, okay, you bypass it. Now, if you see the URL, it was Apple Teacher. Now it's education. The complete website, the complete UI, everything was changed now. I was like, okay. Now, previously it was on post request. Now it's in multi-part. Now, like, okay, let's use CyberShape, encode your payloads, and send again. Let's see what happens. I encoded my payloads, added again, and sent it to server. After some time, again my payload got executed. I'm like, what kind of fix is this? my payloads are getting executed again. And again, they rewarded me for this bug. And if you see, so like on the Blind XSS listener, I keep tracking and updating my, so there are other URLs, and I don't have those data, so I have not added. But this is a case study where you can stick to a particular organization, you can try to bypass multiple things at a time, you can check what kind of things you can do and what not. So if you have other parameters in this, you can send your Blind XSS payloads in those endpoints and see if that can get executed. Okay, so if you see ATLC, I have not added other confidential data over here because I crawl multiple endpoints. So this is an ATLC support ticket where my payloads got executed, and then the Apple web data, IP address, user agents, and other stuff. So this is all for my case studies. I don't have like XSS deprecated. I had the confidential data I was not able to add here, but this is all I have and where my payloads got executed for Apple. And there was a multiple bounty, just me, the payloads, and my bounties. A person lifting cow dunks and drinking water for survival means a lot to me for this kind of bounties. And here I was featured in news when this was executed. And I was very happy to see all these things coming up. And I was very happy to see my mom and everyone, they were very proud. As I said, there's a quiz coming up, so you can get onto this link, okay? There are a set of questions, what I have told today as per my talk. You can complete that, and whatever like I use for my Apple case studies and everything, you can add those payloads. All payloads are already there customized, so you can get on that. You can capture this URL to you. And that's it. Thank you very much. Thanks for listening. /keep hacking.